Today, we want to talk about hazard control measures. Uh, Everyone asks, after I identify the hazard and identify the risk, how do I control these hazards so that they do not escalate into risks? As we know, hazards are any unsafe acts or conditions that have potential to cause harm. And risks are just the outcomes of those hazards, and they are measurable. They can be measured in terms of severity versus probability, which means if they occur a lot and they have serious consequences like fatality or loss of equipment, then that is a high risk. It's a high risk. It is something the organization cannot tolerate. So when we are doing our risk assessment and we are using any matrix, for example, the 5 by 5 matrix, then that means when you find anything that is above high, it must be mitigated. But how is it mitigated? We have all over the world a standard way of mitigating all hazards, and we have 5 of them. The first one is elimination. The second one is isolation. The third one is engineering controls. The fourth one is administrative control. And the last one is personal protective equipment. And as you can see, most people always jump onto the PPEs without knowing there are 4 other hierarchies that, if done, the hazard could be completely eliminated and no need for personal protective equipment. So let us look at isolation in a very simple way, or elimination. Think of a baby who is in the house. When we want to make sure babies are safe, there are some things we remove out of their way when they are crawling. Hot jikos, iron boxes. So that is eliminating the hazard. You've removed the hazard from the path of the baby. At work, we do the same. We eliminate some hazards. Some processes that are too dangerous to do, we stop them. Some equipment that are too dangerous to operate, we also don't use them. That is effectively elimination. And sometimes we eliminate an equipment and get another. So that is substitution. So the first one was elimination. The second hierarchy of control is substitution. You remove something that is dangerous and you get something that is less dangerous. For example, in the chemical industry, people used benzene a lot as a solvent. Then they discovered it has carcinogenic properties. So they started using other hydrocarbon solvents like xylene. You see, that is a substitution. When you remove a faulty equipment and replace it with another, that is substitution. Then we go to engineering controls. These are mechanical interventions that are put either on equipment or processes. It could be guards that are put against moving parts, flywheels, to make sure you do not get injured. A perfect example is the Porsche mills. You've seen speed governors. We tell you to drive at 50, but we still don't trust you. So we put a speed governor in there as an engineering control to help you maintain a proper speed. Engineering controls could be even a simple thing as when you are digging a well or a toilet and you've not finished at the end of the day, you cover it, you cordon it off. That is an engineering control. And very most commonly happening is you find in the era where generators were noisy, they would build a soundproof room for it. That is an engineering control. You can also control hazards by administrative controls. For example, writing procedures, SOPs to guide people to do their work instructions. You could put warnings, notices for people to read. This is a noisy area, put on your earplugs. This is a radioactive area, keep off. Those warnings, those notices, those procedures are effectively administrative controls. And let's not forget training. Training is a key administrative control. Lastly, we talk about personal protective equipment. This is the last line of defense that is given to employees to protect them from residual risk, which means you must try the other hierarchies first, from 1, 2, 3, and 4 before you settle on a PPE. So that way you get to reduce, you get to separate the employee from the hazard. But remember, You have to train them how to use it. You must tell them about the limitation of that PPE. So always remember the 5 hierarchies of control: elimination, substitution, engineering controls, administrative controls, and finally, personal protective equipment. Thank you. My name is Joba Mutabi.